Welcome to Rise Up. I'm Alia Halal.
Welcome to Rise Up, Irfan Alamgir.
And we're joined here by Hadil Al-Khuli, our Human Rights Outreach Coordinator. How are you doing, Hadil?
Thank you, Alia. I'm good. How are you? How are you, Dr.
Good to have you back, Adil.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
And Hadil, there's something very important you wanted to remind the people of.
Yes, so today is more of a call to action.
Mm-hmm.
So as many of the viewers know, that there's been one of the biggest cases that are going on in Egypt at the moment, where 14 members of the case are currently detained for nothing else other than peacefully manifesting their faith. They were subjected to enforced disappearance for a very long time. We had no news where they were. They were literally abducted from their homes. Amnesty International got involved. A press release was issued by the organization, and shortly after, we knew where their location was, because they were now moved to the Office of the Public Prosecutor. Once they were moved to the Office of the Public Prosecutor, they were now prosecuted under the Prosecutor of the National Security. They were put in the 10th of Ramadan prison, and in that specific area, they're known for prolonging pretrial detention beyond the maximum limit. Of course, which means that every week or every other 2 weeks, instead of going to trial and having access to lawyers and the case moving and lawyers being able to interject, they go and it's just renewal. So they're sitting in prison, of course, under dire circumstances, and have no trial. And it's known in that prison that people stay there for, even though you have like a 15-day, that's the maximum limit of pre-trial detention, people could stay there for 3 to 5 years without access to a trial. Limited medical care, probably no access to medicine, and very difficult for the families to visit their their family members that are detained. Nonetheless, we have the Egyptian Initiative for Personal Rights, which is the human rights organization in Egypt, that are having their lawyers supporting the members, going to the prison to visit the members. And for the first time, after the press release, members were able to go and see the members and visit them. So that was a big step. But also we found out that from that first visit, that the reason why it was so prolonged before they actually, before they resurfaced, because many of them were subjected to torture. And they were waiting for the wounds for that to heal, because once they go to prison and the lawyers see them and the public prosecutor sees them, and now it becomes open, obviously this will be revealed. So it was a very sinister plan. But on the other hand, we've seen that public pressure or international pressure, it does work. And after the press release from Amnesty International, and after now we know that they got 14 members from all over the country. So it was a big campaign. It wasn't just one or two from Cairo. They went all the way from Cairo to the south of Egypt. So it was a nationwide hunt, really, for members of the faith. Amnesty International issued an urgent action. Now, urgent action are kind of like the highest level of intervention on the level of the organization. Of course, Amnesty International is a global movement of more than 10 million people in every country. And an urgent action is basically an intervention where they're asking human rights organizations, members, advocates, anyone to get involved through, for example, letter writing. So there was a letter that was issued as a model letter that people can use and address the public prosecutor in Egypt. And this is really the action that's now open for anyone to participate in. There have already been Amnesty International sections in different parts of the world that have issued now this action to their members. So we've seen Amnesty International USA, Canada, Switzerland, of course here in the UK, and many other countries, where on their website you can go, you can sign the petition, you can download the letter, sign it and send it to the public prosecutor in Egypt. Wow. So anyone can participate, should participate, and I think we have a picture of the...
There it is.
Yeah, so here if you go, so the step 1, this is on the Amnesty International USA. You can add your email address and the zip code, get the letter, and then very importantly, after you sign the letter, you need to mail it. So step number 2 is that you mail it to that address, Public Prosecutor Mohammed Shawqi Ayyad, and the address is there. The letter is ready, so you don't have to, if you want to write your own letter, you can, but you actually get the sample letter which has all the information written there. So
That's
it's
so
really
good.
as simple as signing, getting the letter, and mailing it off. And you can also send an email to the Egyptian embassy in the US, and the address is there. And yeah, it does make a difference. There have been many cases of urgent actions that people got released all over the world because of these actions.
Yeah, so that, but it says get the sample letter, you click that and you can actually just copy that letter in to the email with your email address, and that's pretty much all that it takes.
Yeah, but it's important also to mail it. So the email is a secondary, but of course, because it goes to the public prosecutor in Egypt, and we've seen there is no email address. So the step of mailing, you can mail or fax. But this is the main one. The emailing, of course, it's important, but the main thing is that it would have to be mailed to Egypt under the address, or you can fax it under that fax number that was there.
Yeah, that's good. That makes it clear for one and all. This is I mean, it's a great way to get involved in some way, shape, or form, right? To feel that your voice counts, and it does count.
Yes,
and certainly on the Day of Judgment, this is something that will be taken into account, that you did speak up by taking this action. Exactly. That's why this call to action is so important, to remind ourselves that it's all well and good feeling through empathy the suffering of another, but then it's a different level of faith when you actually take some action.
And when you know, because this is one thing that we know works. So if you know that there's something that you know works and did actually help other people, and people were reunited with their families, and they got out of prison, and they got out of horrible conditions because people around the world actually, united. People, for example, in these urgent actions, they come together, which people can also do, by the way. They can, any form of public pressure where let's say you invite your family members or friends, and you come together and do a letter writing action. Take pictures of that, put it online, and say this is in support of the members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light in Egypt, So put up a tweet, something. But we know that when you have that pressure of not just one person or two people, but actually groups of people who are making it very visible, making it very known, it did help. Yeah,
no, definitely.
So
if you imagine somebody from the United States signing up, Texas, USA, Canada, Ontario, Canada, especially if it's coming from all over the place, then it definitely adds another dimension.
I mean, just last week or the week, I think around last week, Amnesty International Canada had a petition online. And by that time, there were more than 30,000 signatures for our urgent action.
That's amazing.
That's huge.
30,000. All over the world.
That's just Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Amnesty International Canada.
Wow, right.
So can you imagine in just one country, this is how far people went. So now imagine, the Office of the Public Prosecutor getting flooded with messages and letters calling for the members to be released, and an investigation also to be started into the abuse of their rights. And so there is, what I'm trying to say, that the case is already big. People around the world are already taking action, so there is no reason not to. And I'm hoping that, anyone who's watching us feels inspired and knows that there's someone there who is in the prison, who's made to feel that they are alone, who is made to feel that the world outside is not thinking about them or forgot them. They are intentionally trying to break them, to break their spirit, making them forcefully, trying to make them give up their faith through torture, and they're saying no, and they're holding on to their beliefs. And a letter, an action together can do a lot to get these people out of prison and to make them feel that there's a whole world out there for people who are standing up for them, who are mentioning their names, who are organizing, who are engaging, who are mobilizing for them, because the violation of their right is a violation of everyone's right.
Yes.
It's really well said, Hadil.
And it's also this call to action. You have to hasten to action. The call to prayer in the traditional Islamic sense, it says, hayya ala salah, like hasten to the prayer. Prayer or salah meaning connection with God. And this is also a good action. And the only one that stops you, what procrastinates, is Iblis or the shaitan. So this is definitely something that if you are having some resistance, then you know that you have to do this action even more, because this is helping believers who are being persecuted and oppressed in the worst way possible. And just by you doing a couple of clicks and writing and mailing a letter, which you do anyway all the time for the most mundane of things, then why not do something that's going to weigh on the scales on the Day of Judgment, that's going to really help you because you helped somebody else in their moment of darkest need. And if you were in that situation, you too would want this action to be done for you. So thank you very much for bringing this to our attention, Hadil. And I really hope that everybody listening goes out there and immediately takes action. Do not delay, because the more you delay, the less likely you are to do it. Act now. And this is the call to action.
Yeah, and it's an urgent one.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Adil, for the reminder. We're going to go to a quick break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back.